So that cache is finished, so make sure you got load from disk checked on, and there we go, we got these points running really quickly now. So as per usual, let's drop a pyro source node, okay, which will take the points, we'll keep the input, and we need to generate, we want to have a density and a temperature attributes. So if we set this to source smoke, that'll do that for us. We'll leave both of these on 1 and everything else at default, and we go into our geometry spreadsheet. We'll have density, we'll have p-scale as well, and temperature created new. Great. Let's add some noise. Well, actually, before we do that, we'll add the rasterize node at the bottom here. And maybe just for now, excuse me, just for now, I will, sorry, not volume rasterize, that's the wrong one. We need volume rasterize attributes, that's the one. Okay, and the attributes will be doing density, temperature, and velocity, but just for now, we'll just do density. Okay, just to visualize, you can see we've got something there already. Let's drop the voxel size to 0.07, say, maybe 0.5, it's good enough. Okay, and then let's add some noise to this. So we'll drop an attribute noise. It's the easiest way to do this. There we go, and I'm going to change this to multiplicative, okay, so that we don't want to add these values on top. This way, if we see now, let's see the density. Oh, we're not actually adding to it yet. So the attribute will be density. Density, okay, and temperature. Density and temperature, there we go. So you can see that we're getting values above now. That's because we're adding to it. So if we multiply this, we should get values between 0 and 1, okay, which is better for us. If we go down here now, don't really see that. Well, we see something, but it's kind of hard to see. Someone needs to play around with this. We need a one-dimensional value, okay. We don't need a vector. We'll have this animated so that it will change over time. Let's remap the noise so it's between -1 and 1. That will kind of give us some values of 0. Okay. Let's see. We can, if we play around with this distribution, we can get some kind of some more contrast. So I'm going to drop this 2 points here and just kind of have a dip in the middle, so you can watch this. That's why it's good to have this volume rasterize already set, and then visualize that, and then when you work around in here, you can see what you're doing. Okay, and if we click on this little arrow, we have some more controls there. So I'm going to set this position to 0.3, just to have it kind of nice and even. This one to 0.6, let's say something, no, 0.7, something like that. Looks good. Okay, and then and I also want to come here, set this value to 1, both of these, the end to, so we've got values coming in at 1. We'll have a big chunk in the middle, which will be 0. I'm going to move this a bit closer to 5. So this is basically, yeah, like I said, adding contrast. So we've got big chunks of nothing and big chunks of something, right? So pulse duration is how frequently, is related to the time, the animation. Okay, so how quickly it will change and move, so I'm going to push that up to 2, and then I think that's it. Let's maybe, we can add some, I'll decrease the roughness, can play around with that. I'm going to push this down to 0.35. There we go. I think that's good for me. And what we also want is to add some velocity. So I'm going to drop a point velocity. So at the moment, if we come here, if we visualize and click on the V, we'll get a velocity marker. Okay, so you can see that we've actually already got some velocity from the animation there, but we're going to we'll turn on the curl noise, and basically we're going to set this, well, we'll come back to this curl noise in a moment, but we're going to set this from an attribute, and the attribute is the normal. Okay, so you can see that if I turn off the curl noise, actually, you can see what it's doing is basically setting the normals of the points to be the velocity. So it's going to be pushing the points away from the geometry, right? So if I visualize here, so you can see that the smoke's basically going to be being pushed away from the geometry at the surface, right? Which is what we want. So if we come here, we can see that's the velocity there, and we can turn on the point normals, and then here they match, right? Okay, so like I said, we're also going to be adding a curl noise to this, right? Want it animated as well, definitely. Let's push up the swirl size a bit, something like that. I think that should be fine. Don't think we need to do that. Great. So bits of you know, curl noise is great for kind of smoke simulations. Get these kind of swirly patterns added to your velocity, which is great. Okay, fantastic. So that, I believe, is our is ready to go. So I'm going to drop a null here at the bottom and call this out. I think we're going to have multiple sources in here, so I'll call this tail density. Let's not forget to add temperature here. Temperature and the velocity as well. Great.